Hi, welcome everyone. This is Tammy Butler with Mortgage Currency, and I am delighted to have with me today Julie Herrmann, who is a newer originator who I think has done an extraordinary job of building her business. And so today, Julie is going to share some of her tips to help other new originators in their journey to kind of get over that hump that it takes for everybody in the beginning. So Julie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. So first of all, Julie, if you can tell me, I know that most of us were not born into this industry. So how did you get into the industry, and really what made you decide to go ahead and focus on a career in origination?
So originally, I was married in 2000, and at that time we lived up in Canada. Eventually we moved to the United States because that's where my then husband was from, and we lived in California. So I'd always had executive assistant as a background. When we moved to California, it was natural progression to go right back into being an executive assistant. So when we divorced, in 2015, me and my children moved from California to Spokane. So what are you going to do in Washington? I don't have family. I don't have any friends there. It was as close to the Canadian border as I could get. So I was trying to find something that would fit within the wheelhouse of what I know what to do. So we had an owner of a mortgage company that was looking for an assistant. He had always hired loan officer assistants. So they were always licensed. They just knew mortgages, and it never really turned out well. So he was to hiring an actual executive assistant. So I came in, dominated what I do with organization, paperwork, processes, policies, putting things into play. And I worked with Randy for years, probably maybe 6 months into working for him and reorganizing the business. I became obsessed with understanding mortgages. And he was old school, so he still used yellow pages. And so I teach him how you can actually Google a business phone number instead of looking in the yellow books. So we'd throw away his 5 years of yellow pages he had in his cupboards. And then it was teaching him that you can connect with people on the internet. Here's what Facebook is. So that way he could get a hold of friends that he knew and people that he had known. And because back when he was originating many, many moons ago, people were lining up outside the door waiting to get a loan. Nowadays you had to go and find them. So as I was teaching him to do this, we transitioned that into teaching other loan officers how to go and find business, how to get online, how to understand how online business works. Then I did what all good assistants do when I go, why am I doing this and not making the commission for this? So we had that deep conversation of why wasn't I licensed? Why wasn't I originating my own loans? The realtors liked me better than they liked him, and he knew that. And he was okay with that because he was 68. He was ready to retire and be done with originating loans, especially not using a computer. When he was doing his prime, you were writing every application down and faxing everything in. So for him relearning the computers, he hated everything I made him do every day. So you have that fear of taking that step between you have a safe, low income, or you have the fear of not knowing what your income is going to be. So when I got remarried in 2017, he, of course, has to live way over in Seattle. So I have to leave everything I know in Spokane and move again with my children to Hansville. So we're the inlet across the water from the Edmond, Seattle area. We're in the middle of nowhere. It takes 45 minutes to go and get groceries. So I was right then obsessed with, I'm going to be the best loan originator I can be, but I'm not leaving my house to date realtors anymore. I had no interest in going out for coffee because I had done that. I had no interest in spending all my hours going out and having happy hours and going to the bar. It just isn't my scene. I can't hear you anyways. I don't know what you're saying. I'm not connecting to you. I don't feel comfortable. I'm Canadian. I'll drink the beer, but I'm not very good at having the conversation there. It just didn't feel natural. So immediately in 2017 when I started actually being licensed and truly on my own, it was building my business all online. And the first thing I did, research, how can I find out more? Because I didn't feel like I knew enough. I'd go to my underwriter to ask for questions. It'd be 48 hours before I got an answer. then it wouldn't even be the answer to the question I was even asking. It didn't help me. And they wouldn't think outside my own box. I could be like, hey, I have a question about these business tax returns. How does this work? Instead of them coming back and saying, by the way, you could also do this, it was just black and white copied out of the book, which didn't help me because I don't have a doctorate and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't read the guideline books. They're horrible. Needless to say, I'd also be asleep too, because remember that beer I had earlier? I really like beer. So then I found mortgage currency. That kick-started my entire, everything can be done online, everything can be learned, everything can be perfected. But bigger than that was the confidence when I'd get a phone call and I don't know the answer, I can say, give me 5 minutes, I'll call you right back. I can find the answer.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that because I know that's one of the biggest gaps that a new originator faces. I actually made a list for the Mortgage Hive when we started the Mortgage Hive. And it's a 3-page list of everything you need to know. And most of it's technical stuff. And the technical stuff is even unknown by people who have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, right? And what's amazing is even when you've been doing it that long, you think, oh, I know that. But then you realize it changed and you don't know it anymore. So I applaud you for reaching out, and finding services, and I certainly appreciate that mortgage currency is one of them. So,
well, I can't even imagine how I would do my job without the charts. Like, for instance, student loans. When they first started becoming a big change in our industry in 2009, how many changes in 3 months did FHA go through on student loans? I remember legitimately Googling every time that we'd have to deal with an FHA loan that had student loans because I knew that the rules would have already changed. So then you would learn the new rules, write it down on a sticky note and put it beside your computer because there's no way that note's going to mean anything in 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Now I just go to your website, pull up the charts, and I go, okay, you don't fit under conventional, you don't fit, oh wait, you might fit under Freddie. I can do this. Wait, if we go USDA, I can do this instead. Wait, even better, we can go this route.
Right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of the charts and checklists, right? Absolutely. It's one of the reasons I purchased the company. I just fell in love with the concept of it and wanted to really blow it up into something that would assist originators on a regular basis, because the last thing you need to do is spend hours in the guidelines reading them. I would say that even people who've been doing this a long time can't read the guidelines and thoroughly understand them. So I'm really glad.
It depends which book. I mean, at least if it's Fannie, it's simple. It's easy to find. If it's FHA, forget it.
Yeah, that's true. Or even
you have to download the old 3000.1 booklet.
Exactly. So your approach is a little bit different, and this is what I want to talk about. You said, okay, I've done the real estate route and it worked out great and all of that, but now that I know that world, I'd really like to have more of a life. So tell me how really how did you start? Because originators are sitting back and they're newer, and I know that you're in the Mortgage Hive, so you kind of see this. They're newer and they're saying, I don't even know where to start. So where did you start? What were some of, let's say, the top 3 things that you did in order to start to gain an online presence to the point where you weren't getting really, really bad leads, but you were actually getting some people that you could work with?
So I started with watching a ton of webinars. I watched every single real estate webinar I could possibly sign up for that was free. I wanted to see from the realtor side what they were sick and tired of. Do you know what they call our normal Monday phone calls that we all make? Monday morning booty call. How many lenders are going to booty call you on Monday? It's true. What do we do on Monday? We dial for dollars. We call the realtors instantly. We have an entire list of our realtors that we want to hit every single Monday, following just even the core. It's family, recreation, occupation, and what can I do for you today? They don't want you to call anymore. How many times do you get a phone call from a company that wants you to use them for coaching, or they want you to Heaven forbid you sign up for a car dealership one time, and how many times they keep calling you to come and look at cars. You just ignore that phone call. You block it on your cell phone. You list it as annoying guy from GMC, and you block him. That's what realtors do to us. They get 50, 60, 70 phone calls from every single lender on Monday asking them, hey, Bob, I haven't talked to you for a week. How was your weekend? How is your wife, Stephanie? It's a horrible approach. It's a booty call. You don't know anything about them and you're not connected.
That's right. It is. So tell me, what are you doing that's different then? So we'll get the 50 to 70 people that are calling the real estate agents. Tell me what you do that kind of distinguished you a bit so that they didn't look at you as the booty call loan officer.
I give value. I create content. I create playbooks. I take the ends that you create that explain how to deal with appraisals or FHAs. And my realtors now will call me before they loan because I've spent hours educating them. Even if they didn't want to listen to my phone call, even if we didn't connect, I would email them information. Hey, when you have a next listing coming up, here's some information you should know about FHA loans and why the appraisers are always seeming like they're jerks when they're looking at your property. That always got them to open the email. And in the email, I'd explain what they, as a listing agent, need to do when they're looking at a property because they don't understand if I can go USDA. They don't know that the VA appraisal and the FHA appraisal is the exact same form. They have no idea, but we know, so we educate them. And what does that do? It puts the spotlight on your realtor, makes them stand out in a listing presentation. They're going against 5, 6, 7 other listing agents at a presentation. So they know something that someone else didn't. Chances are everything comes with a really pretty listing binder. Every single one talks about how they plan to market their property. No one says, can I walk around your house? Okay, you see all these paint marks right here that are kind of shed a little bit on the siding. We got to deal with that. This is why. This is why we want to list your property this way. We're going to open up because of this price point to all these different buyers. Here's the rails that we need to install on the back. Here's how much they cost at Home Depot. I noticed you don't have any carbon monoxide detectors. I have 5 in my trunk. Let me grab you one. They don't realize that unless you point those out. So if you become somebody that has value that drives their business, whether it's teaching them marketing, helping them understand the loan side of the business better, or just even making them look smart, every conversation that they have, they are indebted to you a lot more than you paying for their marketing or a beer. Okay. So it was reaching out to them and having an intelligent conversation, liking their stuff on Facebook and communicating on Facebook, and then sharing something with them privately that would help them. It takes time to build.
Right, exactly. So you mentioned emails, but I also know that I see you doing something else quite a bit. Can you talk about your webinars and how you started those and what the purpose was and really how you started to get people to attend? Because I think that what happens a lot of times with webinars, it's kind of like posting online. You think that if you don't get likes or comments, nobody's looking when really they are. I call them the lurkers. People will lurk you for a long time before they may potentially like something. Or you offer a webinar, you do a Facebook Live as an example, and you'll get a couple of people and that seems embarrassing, so you don't go back to that. This is the sort of thing that I hear from originators all the time. But what I have always believed is that you've got to keep doing it because eventually the word will get out and more people will join or like or comment. Can you share with me what your experience was in the beginning when you started some of that and how you gained your audience to have more people attend what you were trying to get out?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, I put out super compliant posts that my company would create, and I would just share that. It would just be a simple post only about an FHA mortgage or a very simple post about whatever it is that they compliantly felt were important to share. your company, you always got to check what the rules are going to be, but most of the time you can share and talk about things that are personal and private, things about you, get to know me, why I love what I do, because people are getting bored of advertising. So I would start hosting webinars, again, catered to real estate. I would talk to Krista Mayshore. I talked to Katie Lance. I had a YouTube creator. I had an Instagram sensation star. All of those people did webinars that is catered directly to what real estate agents need to do to build their business. COVID hit. Gosh, so many real estate agents didn't know what to even do. They were absolutely heartbroken. We were essential, and our refinance business was, 176% year to year. So we were fine on a paycheck. But how crappy is that of us to go to our realtors and go, hey, when COVID's done, can you send me some deals in 6 weeks? Right. I slowed down my refinance boom, and I created a closed Facebook group just for real estate agents, and I catered to them. What do you learn how to do? Do you guys know Instagram? I downloaded an app onto my phone, and I taught them through a video how to actually use Instagram. How do you use a hashtag? What is its purpose? How do millennials communicate with those hashtags? How do you advertise using those? Facebook, business pages, Canva, anything and everything that they pay between $100 and $300 a month to be accessed to or given direction to do, those were things that I taught them. And then I started hosting the webinars. And sometimes people don't show up because they're busy, but I send them reminders and I read the information. So if it was a good webinar, I'll take snips out of that webinar for the next 2 weeks and feed it to my real estate group that I have and communicate about it, share ideas about it, show them that I'm implementing whatever it is that I'm trying to teach them. If it's like YouTube, for example, that's something that I'm planning to build. So I go through the motions with them on how to do this. Yesterday was an at-home photo shoot. So I took pictures of my photo shoot that I did in the basement, showing them a white wall, showing them a curtain that was put up, showing them the step ladder that my son stood on so that his phone was higher so that my face was a little bit skinnier. But those are things that they can do too, but they don't know. So you just teach them, show them. Now I have value for them, and I show the funny things too. You know, I took a picture before I was even dressed with my dry shampoo, with my bathrobe on, half makeup on one side, and I was like, okay, who's doing their photo shoot today with me? And it's just the engagement, because now they get that I'm not just a loan officer coming after them for business. I'm giving them value. I'm teaching them even if they're not using me for business, because eventually they'll call me when they get stuck, and then I can save the deal. Now we've created this bond that's not going to get broken by another shiny loan officer.
So let me just repeat back what I think I'm hearing, just to bring the points to the new originators, is that you saw that what other originators were doing wasn't necessarily working, nor did you necessarily want to go down that road. And you actually help build tools to help them build their business. So in turn, they would naturally help you build your business because they liked what you were doing. And that was basically something that they said, hey, well, if she's not only good with the Instagram and Facebook and teaching me how to take a better picture or how to do a better listing, as an example, then she might also be really good with the knowledge base and be able to actually get some of my loans closed without too much of a hassle. Did I summarize that kind of correctly?
No, you did awesome. And I even did simple things like, so everybody pretty much, actually really unknown concept is people are unhappy in their marriages. Totally surprised. Most people assume you go file for a divorce, and then because you filed for a divorce, you can go buy a house. And a lot of loan originators think that that's the process that you would take. Actually, you need to have separation. As long as you're legally separate, especially if you're in a common state, then you could go buy your house and not have to deal with your spouse. They don't have to sign off on the approval. Their income, their credit, their everything is not mingled with yours. So who's the first person that unhappy people call? Is the real estate agent. They don't call their mortgage lender. They don't call somebody to get pre-qualified for a loan before they file a divorce. They call a real estate agent first. So I educate the real estate agents, had a live for them, discussed how to handle the ramifications between divorcing, separating, why you would want to go one way versus another. And then I also introduced them to a legal side so that they would have a referral name to give for legal representation. So that way they can say, here's what I know, here's what you go and do is talk to a lawyer. They're taking themselves out of the legality of it, but they're informing their clients the right steps to take so that the client doesn't accidentally go and file for a divorce when maybe they could do a separation. Because in Washington, we have a 6-month hold if you file for a divorce. So for 6 months, you can't buy a house. So it's just teaching them different tricks.
So it sounds like it wasn't necessarily, because we get questions, well, how do I get an appointment? And how do I even get that first conversation with somebody? It sounds to me like you may have warmed them up a bit through doing something. Can you go through how you warmed them up to the point where they were willing to actually have a conversation with you?
So it all starts with social media, because people want to do business with the people that they know, they like, they trust. Again, it's not a call and a quick action. So I would friend them on Facebook because we know someone mutually. There might be somebody that works in their office or whatever the case is. Then from there, I would comment. Why do I like their page? Why did I want to connect with them? Not, hey, I'm a lender, I'm looking for more realtors. It was, hi, I really like what you did with this. That was a great presentation. I really like your video that you posted. That was really cool. Can you tell me what you did for this? Or, hey, that's awesome. I love that coffee shop too, just something that connected us. Then you start stalking them slowly on Facebook and integrating yourself so they don't even know how you know each other. Then from there, that's when I was starting the conversation of, I know you're a real estate agent. I know you're in Washington. I just wanted to let you know about this new change that's coming up to FHA. I thought it would be important for you to know. And that I would send in a private message. From there, I'd say, I can send you a checklist. Did you want me to email that to you? And that starts your email. So I used to just send out bulk emails and Facebook and communicate. And then when COVID happened, that's when I created my closed Facebook group and expanded it. And that's when I started really hosting the webinars, the lives, the teaching them, the creating niche books for them. I took a Krista Mayshore course just about how to be a good real estate agent, and then broke that down into bite-sized pieces for real estate agents and fed that to them over time. So that way they could grow from it, spend $14,000 to be in her course.
Right. So what you're doing is educating. I mean, that's
exactly.
That, in my opinion, has always, that's the way I built my business as a top producing loan officer. I did the same thing, education. And I've never found anyone that didn't appreciate that and didn't eventually send you business because of it.
Exactly.
But you're educating from many aspects, and I think that that's the interesting twist here. So we've got not only the education of what's happening in the industry, but you're also educating them on social media tactics and sales tactics and listing tactics, and anything that you can inherently pick up, you're taking and feeding that out to them to help them build what they're trying to build up. That's excellent, Julie.
Thank you. I just was looking for that for me when I started as a loan officer, and that really wasn't there. I could find the education, I could find Google videos, but I might have to spend 3 days Googling different facts to figure out how to make ads work, or how to make Canva work, or how to make my own logo. You know, I spent hours researching that stuff. So after you know how, then it's stuck in your head. So if you just share that, you just simplified all the day's process for everybody else that's involved with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that's how you got your business started, and that's how you're starting to build it. So tell me, where's the business going, and where do you want to take it?
So my first year, I barely hit any of my goals because it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
My second year, I had a brand new baby, so we had 4 children. Currently, we have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 18-month-old. So he is with me 110% of every single day. I don't bother with the babysitter. If I did a professional photo shoot, he was with me. And in my marketing materials, one of my pictures that a lot of clients resonate well with is me sitting at my desk, Eli's in front of me, he's got my little tablet, and he's typing on my tablet. Because that's just, people want to feel connected, and that's a connection. That's me speaking really directly to my people that have children and realtors that have children, and you get this whole new feel for things. So my whole business was really built just about being honest and truthful and just being who I am for moments. The days I don't have any makeup on and the client wants to meet and we hop on a virtual Zoom call, I won't wear any makeup if I don't have it on. I'll slap on some chapstick really quick right before the video starts. But it's just being open and honest. And I think I asked what your question was.
Oh, that's okay. You started, and I always like to get across to new originators that this isn't instantaneous, but it does happen.
No.
Right? So.
The goals.
Yeah. What was the moment that you kind of saw things happening, and where do you want to kind of take that?
So really, I think is my second year in being an originator. The day that I gave birth to Eli, I was having a C-section that day. I was still doing transactions. I was still emailing and texting because I had spent so much time creating a procedure. So my files, how often I updated, how often I shared, and how for sure communicative I was, even if it was to say, we don't have any new updates this week. So the day that I was having the C-section, all of my updates went out that morning telling them, hey, I'm having a C-section. I'm not going to be available for 3 days, but here's what's happening with your loan. Have a great day. Here's a backup phone number if you need me. Just being truly connected to my real estate agents, that's really created a tight bond with them. Then every single client I have ever worked with, even if I didn't do a deal with them, it's been constantly keeping in contact with them. I know how old their children are. I know their children's birthdays. I put them down in my calendar because they're just as important as mom and dad. So then I started building that. And so probably that second year, just having that consistency, that constant communication, not dropping the ball, sharing the information. My second year, I succeeded my goals by a lot. Now I'm in my third year. Even with COVID, I anticipate that my year is going to be double from last year. And COVID really gave me a step up where nobody else had it because I started those webinars. I did 6 solid webinars right in a row the week that we got shut down. 2 weeks later, every single loan officer I've seen out there is trying. Our real estate agents are already unengaged. However, because I jumped on that right away, was already working with them and feeding them information, that gave me, I guess, the authority for them to continue to follow me. And they will invite other real estate agents to be a part of our group.
That's fantastic. So finally people started calling you and your business is doubling every year. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
Do you have the best rates in town?
No, I think everybody's pretty much the same with rates and with closing costs. If you have really good rates, you're probably a brokerage and you're probably at the mercy of submitting files to somebody else or an underwriter.
Mm-hmm.
My turn was being with a reputable company that had a good reputation in my county because we're small, but also that the underwriters and processors were really fast. I didn't have that at all 3 places. I've worked at 3 places in 3 years. Obviously, I started at Home Street Bank where that went. They got out of the mortgage business. So then I went to a second company. That second company couldn't keep up with the processing and underwriting. It didn't matter how good my business was, how good my communication was, if it takes 7 weeks to close a purchase. None of it ever was about rates. I use MBS Highway, and I show clients how to save money, how to reinvest into their mortgage, how to decide whether they should buy down the rate or not, and what the details for the forecast for finances. Giving the client direct information, rate doesn't matter, because it's always about communicating with them about why their rates are going to change. Or when they come to me with a loan estimate from, one of the online internet companies, showing them directly on there how to rate their APR or where the hidden fees are. Because there's got to be somewhere, everybody's the same really on the playing field. It's just a matter of how you break down that information, how you help the consumer understand why the interest rates are slightly varied, or help them investigate for themselves in black and white why that interest rate is all of a sudden so amazing when it costs them $15,000.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you have this amazing rate and they forget all the other parts. So again, I think it comes back to education and really understanding what you're seeing and what they're seeing and helping them to understand that. So if you could give new originators, and I kind of want to wrap up the call with this, if you could give new originators, let's just say I'm 3 months in the industry, tell me from your perspective, having been down this very long road, what are some of the tips that you would give them to say, listen, if I were starting again, I would do X, Y, and Z because I think that would give me the greatest impact?
Throw away every single handbook that you have purchased about how to be a loan officer. Don't follow a single one of those. Oh, it's true. It's written by people that right now in our world, our technology, that type of business doesn't exist anymore. So throw those out. They're useless to you. Buy real estate handbooks. Understand the real estate side. Understand what is going through their minds as a salesperson, and sign up for every single real estate webinar you can find. Get into the head of being an understanding of what the problems are that a real estate agent faces and how it affects their business. Do not drop your subscription for Mortgage Currency, and I'm not just saying that because I've been with you for 3 years. Everywhere I go, I always educate every single loan officer and manager I meet on why they need to have it. Every time I submit a file to my processor, I copy and paste if it's going to be subject to some kind of argument between her understanding and mine or the underwriter and me. I copy and paste that portion of Mortgage Currency and put it in my file notes when I submit. None of my files come back to me. I have 100% one-touch close that goes straight from processing to underwriting every single time. And it's not because my processor doesn't love me. She really does. But it's because I take the time to understand what I'm submitting and back it up with my black and white information. It's a complete file from start to finish. So spend an hour every day reading Mortgage Currency so that you understand all the different things. Sign up for every single real estate webinar that you can sign up and get online. Learn all about social media because it's where our businesses are going to go. It's where the millennials are. It's where everybody is. They shop for 3 months online before they decide to buy a house. If you can get in front of them for 3 months, even if your personality, you don't even know, you've built a tight relationship with the consumer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, this has been an extraordinary conversation, and I just feel so honored to talk to you about what you're doing. I knew that you had a uniqueness about you that I wanted to share with new originators, and I sure do appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy day to do this, Julie. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.